everybody? It's your girl Sofia, aka Sophie, back here on Sophia's Football Talk to talk some Champions League football talk. We did do a match preview yesterday. Make sure you check that one where we talked about Newcastle, Arsenal, and Man United. And I had, some wonderful guests on. So make sure you check that out. But now we're obviously doing a match reaction for the two, like, more technically on paper that was supposed to be the more exciting games of tonight's Champions League kickoff, but you know, it wasn't all that. We'll talk about that and we'll talk a little bit about some of the other results from the other games. But of course, before we do, make sure that you give this video here a big thumbs up and as well subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We are on the road to 3K subscribers. I 3K subscribers and then 5K and all of that, all the above. So yeah, like. And feel free to join the SFT membership. Link is in the description box. Pick up the Ravi. Yes. Like. Says Newcastle sussing out the Champions League and quickly realizing you got to be on it. You know what? Let's talk about it. Obviously, the first game to be kicked off in the Champions League. I ain't gonna hold you. It was very annoying that this game was a much earlier kickoff. This game, AC Milan versus Newcastle, which ended in 0-0. I missed the first half due to work. The game started. I work later, more so during the evening, um, night on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So it is a little bit annoying that I did miss the first half. But then again, did much happen even in the first half? No, as it was a goalless game. But hey, either way, it was a game where I would say maybe AC Milan were probably the better team, but Newcastle still was more like defensively resolute, weren't necessarily just able to do much. But I think when it comes to this game, we'll definitely be a bit more happy with the result. Will probably be a Newcastle. They might not necessarily be super um, gassed with the performance. But the result, I mean, 0-0 at the San Siro, you'll take that. You get a point. I will take that anyway if I was a Newcastle fan. Like an amazing, you're finally back in the Champions League after what, 20 years? The first game is a big game against AC Milan. But let's be honest. I mean, a lot of you guys know I'm an Inter fan as well. We slapped up AC Milan this past weekend, 5-1. So I don't know if they were just a little bit shook by that result, maybe that total um just bombing would happen. Maybe that's the case. I don't know. Either way, I feel like maybe some people might have like a misperceived notion of assuming that AC Milan is bigger than what they actually are. By name, they're huge. But if you think about the club, what they've done over the past years, okay, they won this Scudetto what, 2 years ago? Okay, they've definitely went into the market and whatnot, but they're not going to do anything in the Champions League. I'm so sorry. They ain't going to even win the Scudetto as well. I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced. It is what it is. Let me say hi to more people that are here. Big up to Muddy. Yeah. Marianne, who is actually a Liverpool supporter and also a AC Milan supporter as well. So, double up for me. Big up though, says Sophia. Big up. The match tonight was really awful. It kind of drained the life out of me. Fam, I hear you. I hear you. I completely hear you and I see it. Big up to Daz. Hope you are well. Llewellyn, big up to you and to both me and everyone in the free seas. AC Milan should have won with the amount of chances that they had. You know what? That's the thing. That's why you have to put your chances. Be clinical. We can't sit there and be like they should have, da da da. You have to. These games you'll look back and be like, dang, because it's a tough group, and we will obviously dive a little bit more in later to PSG and Dortmund because this is the reason why I wanted to do a match reaction of these two particular matches is because all of those teams are within the same group. It is a very difficult group as well, but the performance didn't necessarily overall showcase it. I mean, yes, PSG won, but Dortmund also had some chances, which we will dive into. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But I do agree with AC Milan probably should have won that game for sure. And Newcastle maybe right at the end could have gone away with it, maybe. But then either way, if there's any one of these two teams that will be happy with the draw and with the goalless draw at that, once again, it is Newcastle 100%. That's not even a, you know, what should I say, discussion, basically. It's not. It's not. So they did well. They did well. Ravi asked thoughts on the way Newcastle handled the AC Milan crowd in the game. I think they did handle. I mean, it looked like they did. And the thing is, though, it could also be like the fact that okay, this is the first game back. They've obviously, I mean, in the Champions League, right? A lot of the players that they have in this squad have never played Champions League games ever. Like Callum Wilson, a veteran in the footballing game with in the Prem and all that, but in the Champions League, first time. The same goes for a lot of the other players. It's just a very few. You have, of course, Sandro Tonali was in the semifinal of the Champions League last, season, just a few months ago. Kieran Trippier with Atletico Madrid, have been in the Champions League and all of that. So they got some. They got some. But it's still a very much of a inexperienced team when it comes to the Champions League, right? But I do think they maybe showed up for the occasion, but maybe being a little bit lackluster here and there. Like they I don't know, but still they did. They did. Where's Viet Burn in the Champions League? Who would have thought Dan Burn in the champ? Exactly. I think it's amazing stories like that. I think there was one player. Wait, who was it? Something Anderson, who had his Champions League debut. I don't know if he had his Newcastle debut in general, maybe, but his grandfather played for Newcastle in the 60s, is what I heard. Marianne says Newcastle will be happy as they take AC Milan back to St. James's Park. And I think I've heard other people speak on this before. I generally think that St. James's Park probably will be one of those grounds that the teams in the other groups will probably be a bit like concerned about. Like because we all know, especially us in the Prem, we all know how Newcastle really shows up. I mean, St. James's Park, that is a tough ground to play at. 100%. It's not easy for any team whatsoever. I mean, my team, Man United, knows that very well, but it's a tough ground. So imagine that having like an AC Milan visit you, Dortmund, PSG coming to Newcastle, playing at St. James's Park. I think they can leave us with something. I'm pretty sure I did predict once we did have the group stage live. Give me 1 second. Just had to cough. Once the group stage draw happened, and I did do also like my prediction um after reacting to the draw. I'm pretty sure I did say Newcastle will go through. But I'm trying to remember if I said AC Milan and Newcastle or if I said Newcastle and PSG. But I'm pretty sure I said Newcastle will actually advance. I have a feeling that they can do it. I ain't gonna lie, especially now after the first game. Yes, not super convincing, but I just generally think that they do have a chance to go through. And it's gonna be a group that probably like Steve was saying yesterday, Newcastle fan Steve was saying yesterday in the match preview leading up to this game, saying that the games will probably be. I mean, I would say like the group will probably be. You'll find out who goes through at the final days of the Champions League group stage for sure. I think that will be the case as well. So I will not be shocked by any means if Newcastle do indeed go through. That will not shock me whatsoever. Okay. And yeah, with AC Milan, like it's just I think when they made some of the substitutions a little bit later, it definitely gave something. Like the guy Reinders, I believe. I always mispronounce names, but that guy in the midfield, who when he came in, he definitely looked a bit more like added another outlet, bit more legs in the midfield, running, driving the ball forward. Um, they just weren't able to necessarily finish in the best way. But once again, I do feel like that Newcastle actually had a good. They look very solid defensively, in my opinion, for sure. So you gotta give it up for them, and maybe I don't know which the next game will be. That will be like I believe in 2 weeks. I don't know who they're gonna be playing. Let me double check here. Let me double check. Who is Newcastle going to be playing? They're going to be playing the Wednesday. Oh, ooh, the next game for Newcastle, which is in 2 weeks from now in the Champions League, is actually going to be at home at St. James's Park against PSG. Okay. Oh, that's going to be a cracking game for sure. I cannot wait for that. That's on a Wednesday as well. Lovely. Oh, that's going to be good. That's going to be good. That's going to be a cracking game. I can imagine for sure. So yeah, I think that would be a very good game for sure. But yeah, let's maybe move on a little bit to the other group. I mean, the same group, I should say. So of course, PSG host at home um, in Paris against Dortmund. And I was thinking that was actually the game that was showcasing here in on TV in Norway. So I was like, okay, that's dope. So watch that. But first half was quite boring. Like what I was like, on my computer trying to like fix stuff while I was watching the game. But it was just a bit like, yo. When I looked up, I'm like, how is it already 34 minutes? Yo. So first half, I ain't gonna hold you, snooze fest. And then they came in, came out, was it second half? PSG got that penalty, like Ravi said. Yeah, I think the penalty was a little bit soft. I'm not gonna, it was a handball, a bit too soft, in my opinion. So they got themselves a penalty, which Kylian Mbappe very so effortlessly scored. I believe not very long after that, you had a very good goal by Ashraf Hakimi, the fullback. I'm not gonna lie, that was a very good goal. And then there were some other opportunities where PSG maybe could have made it three, potentially even four, but also where Dortmund also had some chances. They weren't necessarily like I don't know. I've heard that Dortmund has been a little bit shaky throughout. I mean, so far the few games, even in the Bundesliga, they've been a little bit shaky. But I was maybe expecting, like on paper, you would assume, oh, this is going to be a cracking game. But to be honest, that's not always the case. Remember in the Champions League last season, I remember in once when in the round of 16, where a lot of the games were hella boring, and at the same time, Man United and Barcelona were playing against each other in like two legs in like a knockout stage for the Europa League. Those games were way more exciting than the round of 16 of the Champions League. So sometimes it's just about, you know, it doesn't necessarily always have to be um the game that is on paper sought out to be super good. Oh, he's going to be very good. Sometimes it can end up being a snooze fest, which kind of was the same for today, unfortunately. I did hear that, of course, Man City won their game, like, but it was I ain't gonna lie, I was watching people's watch alongs, like, this is football. Sam's watch along. I was watching. It was funny, and then you suddenly hear that Man City are under like 1-0 against Red Star. I was thinking, oh my God, like they'll probably come back, which they did. But it was funny just like for those 15 minutes, just to kind of see Man City fans just be a little bit stressed. I ain't gonna hold you because we don't see much of that for the rest of us. We have to see them being hella confident, yada, yada, yada. But it is nice to just see little moments here and there where they are just a bit stressed. I ain't gonna hold you. I like it. I do indeed really enjoy that for sure. Uh so yeah, so that ended in 3-1. That game in particular. Keep getting the likes though, by the way, people. We got three Wait, I don't know if it actually got three. Like sometimes there's something with these with the YouTube Studio app which doesn't showcase the full. I don't know. Either way, though, do get the likes up. The more likes we get, the more we're able to push the likes out there for more people to see. So yeah, like I said, Man City, that they did their thing. We also, of course, have who else did play? We have Feyenoord versus Celtic 2-0. I heard that Celtic lost two men. Two men got sent off or something. I'm like, whoa. So they played with 9 against 10. I mean 11. And then Lazio, Atletico Madrid, 1-1, where the goalkeeper actually equalized. Goalkeeper saved them a point. Imagine that. That's pretty dope. Who else? Barcelona slapped up Antwerp, which I believe is a Belgian team. I think it's a Belgian team or a Swiss team, one or the other. But 5-0. Okay, so we got João Felix scored, Lewandowski, and then Batel on goal, and then Gavi. But João Felix, I believe he has like what, two? I think he has 2 goals and 1 assist in like 3 games for Barcelona so far. So he was saying like, yo, he was literally twerking for Barcelona and saying, hey, Barcelona is like, my dream club. I would love to go. And now his dream came true and he's, putting up the numbers. He's showcasing why, a lot of people have been rating him over the years, but you kind of felt like you haven't really seen of the full potential of João Felix. And I would really actually wanted him at Man United, but it is what it is. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? You know what I'm saying? We also had Shakhtar Donetsk, who played Porto. Porto won 3-1. And Young Boys versus Leipzig. Leipzig won 3-1. You got Simakan, who scored, Schlager, and Benjamin Sheshko. And then for Young Boys, it was Elia. Okay, okay. Ooh, interesting. Interesting. So yeah, that's kind of like, the Champions League. What should I say? Games for today. Will tomorrow be even more interesting? I hope so. I mean, tomorrow I know a lot of you ops there are waiting to see Man United get slapped up by Bayern. I know. And I did predict, spoiler alert to those of you who haven't seen the match preview from yesterday, but I did say, because I'm going to back my team, I did say 2-2, Bayern away, Man United. We probably will be slapped up, but I'm just gonna believe and back my team and say 2-2. Because you never know. I did hear there's some injured that they also got some players that would be absent, they will be gone, not available. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see fully. But it'll be interesting. And then also I believe who else is gonna be playing tomorrow? Who else are gonna play tomorrow? Let's see here. Oh, okay. We have Galatasaray and Copenhagen will be playing. They're going to be playing a very earlier kickoff actually, so I probably might be check. You know what? Since I do finish off of work earlier than today, so I might be able to check that game. Real Madrid also is playing earlier actually. They're playing against Union Berlin. Then of course later tomorrow evening we'll having Bayern and Man United. Sevilla and RC Lens, Arsenal versus PSV, Braga versus Napoli, Real Sociedad versus Inter Milan, Forza Inter, and then Benfica versus RB Salzburg. That is the games for tomorrow. Interesting. I think those seems, those we can definitely. The Bayern and Man United one is the one that most people will be watching. Even though Arsenal, will be playing at the same time against PSV, I reckon you'll probably see Arsenal fans literally be watching both of the games at the same time, like, because people are waiting for us to get humiliated. People are waiting for Eric Tanag to get the "you're sacked." All of that. There's been so many leaks. There's been, oh my god, there's been a lot. But I don't know. I am a little bit concerned. I'm not gonna lie, but I want to believe that we potentially just potentially, can maybe leave the Allianz Arena with something, with something. I just want to believe. I want to hope that that can be the case. Because you never know. You never know. On a good day, it could be those Champions League nights where that potentially can happen. And I hope, I genuinely hope, more than you believe, I genuinely hope that we can leave with something. Yeah. But like I said, when it comes to, potentially in particular with the games today, not much to rave about. Could PSG potentially be maybe a force to be reckoned with? Could they do sign? I don't know. I don't know. Of course, Mbappe is Mbappe. Usman Dembele, though, yeah. I mean, the guy is talented, but it's just like you don't really feel like he's lived out to the full potential. Like in a way with João Felix, but like I feel like with Dembele, it's even more, way more. So yeah. Ravi asked, did you rate Dortmund the way they were playing? Not really, to be honest. Not really. They had some chances where they should have nipped in the bud at the end, where they just weren't able to do so. So I don't know. I just wasn't too excited with how Dortmund were playing football as well. If I'm gonna be honest about that, I felt like I found it more exciting last season. I mean, obviously they lost Jude Bellingham and whatnot, but still, though, still, it's been a bit lackluster. I'm not gonna lie, a little bit lackluster, to be honest. So that's the thing. That's the thing. But with PSG, there were some patterns of play that I did find a little bit interesting. But I'm not super, I'm not the most, what should I say, the biggest Luis Enrique fan. Sometimes people be rating him like very highly. No, when he was this, Spain's national team coach for the manager for the World Cup, I was like, y'all ain't doing anything. People were thinking, oh, y'all slapped up Costa Rica 7-0, 7-1, that they were going to do much. No, they lost to Morocco, okay, in I think it was the quarterfinal or the round of 16, one or the other. Either way. And I'm not even disrespecting Morocco. I'm not saying that. They were definitely a very good team and deserved to do what they did. But I'm just saying, Spain in particular, with Luis Enrique, nothing to rave about whatsoever. So we'll see how far they can go in the Champions League. I definitely don't have them as favorites. I think maybe they can. Looking at it now, I'm thinking they could finish first, and then I will say maybe Newcastle will be second because I think they'll scrape through. But with PSG, they probably might be like maybe, just maybe they'll reach the quarterfinal is what I'm thinking. But they don't give me like, it's different. Obviously Neymar is not there anymore, Messi is not there anymore. They've lost a couple of players, right? But they've also added a lot of new additions as well. You have Gonzalo Ramos, you have Lucas Hernandez. Who else did they get? Who else did they get? They got a bunch of other players as well. Why am I completely blanking? They got a lot of players. Got a lot of players. So yeah, big up to Jay Kismet. I'm alright. Hope that you're okay as well. Right? Ask, do you rate the style PSG played today? I rate it more than Dortmund and maybe more than some of the other teams, but still not like I rate it like, whoa, this is no. It's like certain players that you look at that excites you. Whenever Kylian Mbappe has the ball, you kind of want to get off your seat a little bit, or just clench your booty cheeks a little bit. Just because. Pause, by the way, but just because he does excite you a little bit in the way he plays, the way he ends up being like an attacking outlet. He ends up being like, yo, okay, we gotta pay attention. Kylian Mbappe got the ball. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of how I feel. But but it's not like I'm overly impressed by it. I don't think they're gonna hold up if they play against the Man City. If they Real Madrid, that ain't nope. I don't think so. But you never know. You never know. This is at the end of the day, right now, of course, in the group stages, you end up getting, the points and all of that. But once you get into the knockout rounds, it is proper knockout football. It ends up becoming cup games, you know? Um, so you need the it doesn't necessarily have to be the best team have to play the best football. That doesn't always have to be the case. Like with Man City, at the end they just tweaked it and figured out other ways to win. Like with against Inter Milan, they weren't able to press the way they normally press. You know, because you had a Andre Onana that was just hella press resistant in goal for Inter. Honestly, and what Pep said, he came out and be like, "Yeah, we had to force ourselves to play differently because you have such a press resistant goalkeeper who has to force you to do that. He doesn't allow you to be able to get at him because he's not going to be pressed. Literally, pun intended, he won't be pressed whatsoever, right? So they have to sometimes play a little bit more uglier, not necessarily be the super, hmm, what's the word that I'm looking for? The superior team per se. Even though, of course, they were favorites in the game, but I ain't gonna hold you. If Inter could have finished their dinner, I think they would have won. And I'm not saying that to be biased, but the game still ended 1-0. Inter had some chances, they still weren't able to finish their dinner. Okay? That's what it is. So I said all this to say, and also when it came to, last year, like 2 seasons ago when Real Madrid won it, we all know Real Madrid wasn't the best team when they were playing in the knockout stages, against a PSG, against a Chelsea, against a Man City, and against Liverpool. They weren't the best team, but they were able to be effective. So that's what it is with the Champions League. Sometimes the style of play and I mean, being like playing the best type of football doesn't always need to be the case. You just got to be effective, especially when it comes to cup type of football. That's what I think. Big up to Tulumba, hope you're doing well. AC bottled it. I mean, AC they had chances. They did. They had chances indeed. They just weren't able to finish their dinner. That's the thing with them. That's the thing with them. So they'll definitely, like I said, will be like, you know what? Dang it. We should have won that game. We should have. We had chances. We weren't able to get it done. So once they get, whenever they play at James's Park, I think that's going to be tough. I don't think a lot of these other teams like PSG, AC Milan, and even Dortmund know where they really what they're really coming to once they get to St. James's Park. I ain't gonna hold you. I think that will actually be that will probably be a difficult um, ground to go to because we all know, like I said, the fan base of Newcastle at St. James's Park. They have such a wonderful fan base. I ain't gonna hold you. Okay, I remember, in the Carabao Cup final, Man United and Newcastle. It was beautiful to see. I was just like, whoa, we won. Even though we weren't the best team, we still won. We were just effective, right? That's what I'm saying with the cup games. You just gotta be effective. Doesn't matter if you're the better team, if they are the better team. What does the score sheet say at the end of the day, especially when it comes to cup games? What does it say? Does it say you're the winner? We roll with that. You're the winner, and they are the losers. That's that. But I say this to say once again why I wanted to point that out is due to the fans. It was very wonderful, and of course we we played against them at their ground later. We lost 2-0. They have a wonderful ground. They do. So it'll definitely not be an easy ground for any of the other teams to go to, but I reckon that they can manage to advance and get through from the group stages. Yeah. Jake Kisman says AC should have scored. Yes, they should have, but they didn't. That's why you have to finish your dinner, because you'll probably be thinking and looking back and be like, dang it, we had opportunities in San Siro against Newcastle, but we didn't finish our dinner. That's something that they will have to look at again. But I generally think that they probably would maybe were a little bit, I don't know. It was just wonderful that Inter played them before then, that we slapped them up 5-1. Hmm. That's what I think. You know, you know, because that was indeed wonderful. Wonderful. But yeah, I think that's gonna be that when it comes to the this match reaction. I didn't want it to be super long for today, but tomorrow probably gonna be way longer. I'm gonna see if I can get an Arsenal fan on tomorrow so that we can also be able to talk about their game. But for me tomorrow, obviously it's gonna be full on focusing on Bayern Munich versus Man United. Um, we'll have to wait and see how that game goes. But yeah, like I said, I will be doing a match reaction straight after the Champions League games tomorrow. We'll talk about mainly focusing on Bayern Munich, AC, why am I saying AC Milan? Bayern Munich, Man United, and of course also Arsenal versus PSV. We might also touch a little bit on to some of the other games, like Inter will be playing Real Sociedad, I believe, and yeah, some other. So we'll see. Big up to Lumba. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate it. And no worries that you were like, fam, you just rewind. Stuff happens. No worries, no worries, no worries. But yeah, big up to those who've been here, to Lumba, Ravi, Jay Kismet, Jay Kismet, Marie Ann. Yeah, big up. I appreciate you guys taking the time of your day to tune in and to be active in the chat. So yeah, big up, big up. Yep, yep, yep. But I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Glory, glory, Man United. And Forza Inter. Damn, I hope Man United wins tomorrow. I do. I don't want to be sad tomorrow, man. I really don't want to be sad. Damn it. I probably will. Ugh. Okay. Oh, okay. Before I go, Jake Smith asked, "What's your prediction for the Bayern game?" I did say in the match preview yesterday, but I quickly say it 2-2. I know I might be ridiculous for saying 2-2, but I'm going to back my team.
Are you all right? Yes. No, you are all left.